Mercury and Aries. Mercury and Aries. So this person is kind of somewhat of a creative thinker, but they move off of, things they hear. They will take action, through like conversations and shit. They'll try to talk to people, They'll definitely talk to people, and when they talk to people, they're gonna it is what they say. There's no anything else. This is what I'm saying. That's what's there. They're direct speakers. They dictate what's going on with them or what they see. That's what it is. There's nothing else there. What are you talking about? They don't mind, bringing up something that nobody else is bringing up. They don't mind bringing shit to the forefront. So there's, discussion about it. They know, also when there's things that need to be said, but nobody wants to fucking say them. So they'll bring it up. And then people will either attack them or, ask them questions depending on the type of people, attack what they say, because these people, like I said, they have an authoritative voice. They're direct. What they say is what they mean, and that's what it is. They don't really play games too much. These people who have Mercury and Aries. They call shit like they see it too. They can see the potential for, are you trying to make things happen, or are you trying to just live in the past, be a fucking weak ass animal? Are you trying to move forward from that? Because this person's a forward thinker too. It's about taking actions towards a goal. It's about, manifesting things from their mind forward into reality. Now people think that, they get overly, whatever, aggressive with their tone of voice. They get, too fixated on certain things. And that's not the case. The goal's always there and everything. These people never, stray away from what they're trying to do. They never do that. They think about it all the time. They think about doing things, all kind of stuff, all kind of shit, really. And then they're like, well, I have to do one thing, and I'll do that. And then when I do it, I'm going to make sure they know I'm doing it. These people have displacement. They do that, right? I'm actually one that has displacement. However, as it relates to all my other, energy, you might not see certain things. Because for me, I'm a Taurus sun, right? And then my Mercury sign's in Aries. So that's how my thinking process. I might think fast sometimes too. These people are known to, think fast, not really take the information in sometimes, and be a little, they don't think about what they say sometimes, is what I'm saying. Sometimes they don't. And then when they say something, it comes out wrong. And then people, they hear it. Now, they definitely hear you now. They hear what you said. And then they just ask, they're like, well, what do you mean by that? Or can you, say that again? Somebody who's more, clear-minded or thinks more practically than you do, because sometimes you are a little bit, of a, person that plays games and has fun too much too, but you are, key here is when you talk, you're an authority, and you're direct when you speak. What you say is what it is. That's what you're saying. You ain't saying anything else. Other people saying shit, that's not you. I didn't say that, bitch. I said this. You don't do that to these people. You gotta listen to what you heard. And you did hear what they said. And I know people hear me too, and if you have Aries and Mercury Aries, and people don't listen to you, or you feel like they heard you, man. They heard you, girl. But they're just playing games. They think that they want to piss you off. They want to see what you do. They want to see if you are gonna, get active on them, or are you gonna like scream at them more, or are you gonna hear them out? That's what they're really testing. Are you gonna listen to them, what they have to say, or are you gonna, keep fighting for what you're saying? And you can do whatever you want, as far as that goes. Key here is your direct speaker, your authority in a conversation. It's like, for you, once I'm done talking, I expect a response. Or maybe there's not a response that's needed. I need action taken by somebody else, or I'm going to take those actions myself. I'm letting you know I'm being a decent person and letting you know what the fuck's going on before I do something. Because some people don't do shit like that. People gotta know stuff. And that's Aries and Mercury in a nutshell. So try to stay cool on the corner and don't get too hot. Don't get too upset. Irritation and, frustration does come. And I know about that, every day, but try not to, pop off on somebody too much. But yeah, try to be cool on the corner.